tonight concerning the Girl Scouts and Texas State Senator Wendy Davis. Ms. Davis last summer led a controversial effort to block a bill that would provide new guidelines for abortion access. It would have stopped abortions after 20 weeks. So imagine the surprise of some when the Girl Scouts of America recently endorsed her as their candidate for the Person of the Year. Not exactly, but I'll tell you what they did. Let's go back to our panel, along with Ellison Barber, who joins us from the Washington Free Beacon. So let me start with you on this, Ellison. Wendy Davis was basically arguing in favor of allowing abortions past 20 weeks as they are now in Texas. And she was a champion of this, and she did a long filibuster, and people were, and she's arguing that healthy fetuses ought to be allowed to be aborted past 20 weeks, up to 26 weeks, and that anybody who, opposed that, she thought was really cracking down on women's rights. Well, she became a hero for some on the left. And the Girl Scouts retweeted, I guess, a discussion about whether she, among others, should be Person of the Year or should be the Woman of the Year. Do I have it right?
Right. Not only did they retweet it, because I know the argument against this is going to be retweets aren't endorsements, but they retweeted it and they also put their own comment. So I would say it was just a tweet out. But what's interesting is I went and looked on Girl Scout USA's frequently asked questions, sort of to just see what their policies are on this. And they very clearly state that when it comes to human sexuality, birth control, and abortion, they do not take positions on these issues or distribute materials associated to it. So with that tweet, even though they're trying to backpedal and say it was a retweet, it wasn't an endorsement, we were just trying to put this article out to talk about inspirational women, they've essentially violated their own policy. And I do think that that is a big deal because it goes against sort of the core message that they're trying to promote to girls, and they are overstepping their bounds and promoting what is inherently a political message by tweeting anything tied to Wendy Davis.
Because they're asking, is there anyone you would add to this list? Incredible ladies, they say, who should be Women of the Year. And the question is, Bernard, whether the Girl Scouts of America should be going anywhere near Wendy Davis or abortion.
Could we please inject some facts into this debate and quit going after the Girl Scouts? Here's what happened. The Girl Scouts retweeted an article in the Huffington Post that was about a variety of people, a variety of women that should be up for Incredible Women of 2013. And the consensus was that Malala Yousafzai, who was the Pakistani education activist, a teenager girl, should absolutely head the list. Now, one of the people mentioned on the list, one of the many people mentioned on the list was Wendy Davis. I think appropriately so. She showed a lot of tenacity, a lot of courage in fighting for reproductive health and fighting for women's rights and fighting for women's health against the GOP assault on women's health that we saw all throughout 2012 and 2013.
But there's controversy over her. There's no controversy over Malala. There's no controversy over,
But the tweet wasn't about Wendy Davis. It was about incredible women. Of course, Wendy Davis happened to be one mentioned.
Would you care, Bernard, if they had sent out something, I don't know, this is about Women of the Year, but let's say it was Person of the Year. If they had sent out Tony Perkins of the Family Research Council, something including him, wouldn't you say, why are the Girl Scouts including somebody who's a controversial figure?
I would not agree that Tony Perkins should be a Person of the Year, considering that he is against basic fundamental human rights.
That's my point. Should the Girl Scouts guy, I'll give you the last word, be tweeting out anything that's got a list on whom someone very controversial is included?
I'll cut them a little bit of slack because they weren't explicitly endorsing her or her policies. But if you're running an organization that's built on merit and, service and cookies, the last thing you want associated with your brand is late-term abortion. And you can talk about women's rights, and I know we just heard the talking point there. The fact is, according to a raft of polling, women are more likely to oppose late-term abortion, what Wendy Davis has championed, than men. So this is not a women's rights issue. It's a human rights issue. So I just wanted to make that point and correct Bernard on that.
Well, I think they should stick to the cookies and not the tweeting, because it has not worked out well for them today. They got a lot of pushback on Twitter. Panel, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Megan.